Okay, so now we're finally going to start talking about some of the C++ code and making sense of it. And we'll start with a very simple program and just talk about a few techniques. So here I'm opening up my project, and remember that if you already have a project, you open it by this file, the solution file or the SLN file. So there I am double clicking, and it has opened my project. Notice this is the Solution Explorer. I don't see those folders, the resources, the header files, the source files, but that's because this is collapsed. So if I expand that, you can see here I am, and then expand this, there's the code file. Okay, so I've opened that up, and it is a blank code file. We're going to type a very simple program and talk about what we're doing as we're doing it. Now here you will always begin every program you do for me with this. Include IOString. Okay, and also this. I would like to, now we know from the last video that this will help us to pause the screen, the stdlib. We're going to talk about this guy in just a moment, but we'll talk about this whole block of code in just a moment. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but whoops, using namespace std. Okay, so you'll always have these three lines at the top. Later you'll probably have more, but always these three at least. Okay, and then we're going to start typing the program, and you always will have this much, int main, and you'll see this in the programs in your book as well. And then you throw down a couple of curly braces, and then typically return 0. Okay. All right, so this is, main is called a function, and you're really not going to know what a function truly is until we start working with other functions later in the semester. But this is basically, you can think of this as like a sandwich, okay? And here's the top piece of bread, and there's the bottom piece of bread, and your program is always going to go inside the sandwich, okay? Never outside of the sandwich. You're always going to type your program inside of here. And then as far as this other stuff, the int and the return 0, that'll make sense later on. So just kind of take a leap of faith on that and always type those things in. But this is your main program. It's very important that you type main exactly like this, small m, always just main, exactly as you see it there. Okay, so let's, and then another thing we need to do is pause the screen. You saw in the last video what happens when you forget to do that. Your program just is gone in a blink, and you won't see your output. Okay, so let's get into some real code here, and then we'll be able to decipher what this is all about up here. If I just want to do a simple welcome message and put it on the screen, I'm going to use this guy, which is pronounced cout. Cout. Okay, not cout, cout. And basically, cout is an object. This is an object-oriented programming language. C++ is an object-oriented programming language. And what that means is we have code installed with this. When you install the Visual Studio, the compiler is installed. The compiler is the software that translates our C++ code into the machine language that your computer can actually understand and run. Your computer doesn't understand the word include. Your computer doesn't know what using means. Those are English terms. Those are human terms for us. But the computer really speaks in zeros and ones. So the compiler is that program that will, parse it all down to this numeric language that the computer can run. So anyway, also included when you install C++ is this huge library of code, okay, code files that people have already written for us, and we're able to just use it. And a lot of these code files represent objects, okay? And basically cout, you can think of, it's not really like this of course, but you can think of cout as like a pipe with data flowing through it. Data flowing from your program in memory to the console, to the little black window when we run our program. So just think of cout as a pipe with data flowing through it like alphabet soup, and then it ends up where we want it to be. So basically, if we want to use this cout object, we have to say, hey, we want to use the cout object, and that's located in this library file. You know, it's like, think of a library on the street. You wouldn't just walk in and pull a book off the shelf and walk out the door with it, right? You have to go through some kind of checkout routine. And this is your library checkout routine. Yes, we would like to use cout, and this is the procedure that we have to follow in order to use that. So that's why we say include IO stream. IO stream stands for input output stream. Okay, so this, I told you, it's like a stream of data flowing through a pipe. So maybe that will make sense of the term IO stream. Okay, well, same thing with the system pause. If we want to use that, we have to say, oh, that's located in this library file. Okay, and then the using namespace standard is related to those two. So that's why you need those three for even the most simple C++ program. Okay, so we don't use cout by itself. It is used with this guy. 2 arrows facing left. And that is called the insertion operator. And basically, you know, cout and the insertion operator are an inseparable pair. They always go together. So then after that, now that that's in place, we'll just do a simple welcome message. And this is in quotes, notice. Okay. This is called a string constant or a string literal. We talk about strings in programming a lot. Strings are it's just a string of characters all strung together like beads on a necklace. We have the W, we have the E, we have the L, and so on, all strung together in a pair of quotes, double quotes. And then typically, I'm sure you've caught on already that, you know, C++ statements are they're terminated in semicolons. A lot of languages are like that these days. The C#, Java, the C++, they all end in semicolons. Now, you know, be careful. Don't put a semicolon after everything. You wouldn't put a semicolon here or here. All right, just, you know, you have to use my programs and your book programs as models. And after a while, you kind of get a feel for where the semicolons go. Okay, so let's run this. And there we go. Okay, that's cout in action. I think in the next program, I'll continue along this line, but we'll add a little more output, and I'll show you how to manipulate your output a little bit better.